Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the NBA Front Office Show. We got a lot of news going on around the NBA. That Giannis Antetokounmpo guy, some big news popping up about him. We've got Darius Garland to talk about a little bit. Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Mitch Robinson, what's going on with him? Lots to get into. I'm Trevor Lane. He's Keith Smith. Keith, I guess we just start right off top with the guy. It's the summer of Giannis. And now it's sounding like he could indeed be taking his talents to South Beach, the Heat, the front runners for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Are you surprised at all that Miami is being considered the strong favorite to land Giannis right now?
From a connectedness, no, because remember, I mean, it was in the early days of our show, I think, when we relaunched. There was a lot of Giannis to Miami stuff, and it was if Bam extends, he's not going to go there. You know, all this weird things, and they share an agent, and now they use their money for Giannis to do this and all that. It feels like he's been linked to the Heat forever. But from when you actually sit down and look at the packages that can be offered, yeah, Miami could do a little bit more picks wise, right? They're finally freed up a bit. Matching salary wise it's at least expiring salary, quite a bit of it to the Bucks, and you could get players like Jaime Jaquez and Kel'el Ware, who are young guys, but those aren't like, oh my gosh, look at this super young building block that we're going to build our entire franchise around now that Giannis is gone. So package wise, it doesn't feel super strong, but I get it. And maybe this is a sign. Maybe the Bucks aren't being overwhelmed with offers for Giannis.
Well, I actually think the Miami offer is very strong. If it's Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez, Tyler Hero, and 3 firsts.
Here's the issue with the first. Like, are they? I mean, here's the good thing.
What's the quality of them? And maybe
they're going to be later.
Matters in that too.
Yeah, they're going to be later first, right? So that's good because you're in a place where might be post Giannis by that point. So at least that part of it is good. But there's just so much uncertainty around first round picks right now. And it's like where it is. Hero, right? I think Hero's fine as $33 million expiring contract. No problem there. I like Kel'el Ware and I like Jaime Jaquez. I don't know that those are two guys. Like I'm not jumping up and down that, oh my God, we have them. And there's 2/5 of our starting lineup, the next time we're a title contender. But I mean, it's not bad by any means. It's just not the superstar package that we had become used to, where it's like, here's these, major guys being traded. But I guess that's just the way it goes now.
Yeah, I think it's especially given Giannis's injury history, all of that. I think that's got to be a consideration here. Like, it's probably the best Miami can do without getting to Bam Adebayo. But this is still, this is a serious offer. I don't think it's hey, we're messing around here. We're going to try to throw everything we can at him. And there's a report out today that Miami will. And by the way, this would not be the entire package because they would have to include another salary just to make the math work. So maybe that's Nikola Jovic. Maybe that's somebody different. We'll see. But I do think that Miami is very motivated to land Giannis. There's that report out today that basically anyone on their roster is available that's not Bam Adebayo. They want to partner Bam with Giannis, and they will trade anybody else in order to make it happen. So I think Miami is very serious about going out and getting him. A big part is going to come down to what does Giannis want? Where does he ultimately want to go? That's going to be a major factor here. But I think Miami is giving a real offer. And frankly, with the new trade rules or the new draft lottery rules, maybe that helps. If you say, well, Miami might be pretty good at this point, or okay, maybe it increases your odds that you've got a shot at a top pick with one of these selections in a Giannis trade. So I do question, though, what is Miami, let's say they do land him, what do they have left over to build around Bam and Giannis with? That's where it gets tricky for them.
I'm going to move south and sign a minimum, and that's how we're going to fill out the bench. Because that's, I mean, but being more serious, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Bam, Giannis. I would assume at that point, Andrew Wiggins picks up his player option.
Sure.
You probably try to re-sign Norman Powell to come back. You still have Davion Mitchell. And then it's just going to be a lot of young guys. It's going to be whoever they draft. I believe their pick is 13th. So
I would think that probably goes out in the trade, though, right?
What's that? Yeah,
that would probably go out in the trade.
Probably, given the Bucks seemingly wanted another first rounder in this year's draft. Yeah. So take that off the table. You still have Pelle Larsson. I would assume he's a pretty good player, been a rotation guy for them. You're going to need more. I know it sounds weird for a team that's headlined by Bam and Giannis. You're going to need more size because you're going to need reserves that can play. So I think you get a little bit done there. So, it's going to be a lot of, hey, which vets want to catch on here and come in for the minimum, and maybe probably at that point is you're probably talking more of the taxpayer MLE, because he'll probably be butting up against like maybe a first apron hard cap or something like that. So it's not awful, but you're going to be pretty thin.
Yeah, I think that's certainly going to be a concern for Giannis Antetokounmpo that wants to win a championship. Now, as our pal Eric Pincus noted for Bleacher Report, the Bucks' preference is to still extend Giannis, but we are operating under the assumption that Giannis is not going to give them the locked in, you have my word, October 1st, when you can give me an extension, I will sign it from Giannis. And assuming that's the path we're traveling down, the Bucks are going to trade him, according to what the Bucks ownership has said prior to the draft, which is coming up starting June 23rd.
Yeah, they want that clarity. So we'll see if that's what they want, and that's going to be how it goes. I'll say this too. There are a couple other. So we're mixing reporting here, which we're going to have to do all throughout the summer because everybody's getting different stuff. A lot of this came from Sam Amick and Eric Name at The Athletic, but Jake Fisher had some stuff of teams who aren't really seen as interested, and he kind of was like, take the Thunder and the Spurs and the Warriors kind of off your list. Like, they're not really there. Amick and Name mentioned the Orlando Magic, who would now have Sean Sweeney, who Giannis reportedly had a really great relationship with when Sweeney was an assistant with the Bucks. They did mention the Celtics. We're going to get to that next because there's a little bit more into that one. But they also mentioned the Knicks as like, are the Knicks going to be as interested? Because the Knicks are in the NBA Finals. Do they even like, where are they at? Like, do they want to gut a finals team? And I think, I can't remember if it was Fisher or if it was Amick and Name, but they did say, hey, the Knicks, like, if things don't go well, maybe they do feel differently. And then it's like, all right, we didn't win the finals. Now if we want to take the real next step, let's go get Giannis. And they did mention Giannis wants to be there. Portland was also mentioned because they have all the draft picks, but specifically was called out, Giannis does not want to play in the Western Conference. He wants to stay in the East, where it's closer to his home. Yeah, right. Yeah, let's balance things out a little bit and keep him in the East. So yeah.
I also think staying in the East is important just for your path to the finals, of course. But if you're the Knicks and you get bludgeoned by Wemby, the immediate reaction could be, let's go get the one guy that everybody sees as somebody you could actually throw at Wemby, and let's go make a move for Giannis. So there's going to be other teams that are certainly going to be in the mix. But let's talk a little bit about the idea that Giannis is intrigued by the Celtics, who conversely from Miami, where we look at, I think it's a pretty decent package that they're offering for him. That is, even if that goes through, though, okay, what do you have left over at that point? I think if I'm Giannis, I would need to hear, what's the plan after this, though? What do you have lined up? What's coming after this? Because it can't just be me and Bam and that's it, right? There's got to be more coming. Now, with Boston, Giannis is intrigued with Boston because he knows after a trade, which I would assume has to be Jaylen Brown. I just don't see any other way to make this work.
Yeah, let's pause there just very quickly.
Yeah.
Likely not Jaylen Brown to the Bucks. Probably Jaylen Brown to a third team. That's what everybody has been mentioning, whether that's Atlanta or Portland.
Portland makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there were a lot of other teams that were kind of thrown out there of maybe it's there, maybe it isn't. But yeah, likely Jaylen Brown is the primary salary match for Giannis. But Jaylen Brown does not land with the Bucks. He lands with a third team, with that third team then routing some of the value to Milwaukee.
And Portland has control of the Bucks picks for 3 years. They could just say, hey, these picks, whatever, to make the deal work, and we'll take Jaylen Brown and then go from there. I don't see a non-Jaylen Brown path to getting that done. But if you're Giannis, you say, well, number one, you can say the Celtics need a player who can put pressure on the rim, and Giannis is maybe the best at doing that. But you could look at things and say, well, but if Jaylen Brown is the piece going out and not a whole lot else, then you've got a pretty damn good team around. Giannis arrives, and okay, there isn't that element of okay, we got Bam and Giannis, and now what do we do to build a team? It's okay, we've got Tatum and Giannis, and now we've got a bunch of pieces, and we're ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, and that was the thought behind it, that when Giannis, and this is all people reporting things of people close to Giannis, that he likes the idea of, all right, the fit is a little cleaner with Tatum because of Tatum's ability to shoot compared to Bam's. And then Giannis likes the idea of the Celtics, if it is Jaylen Brown, they don't have to gut their team. You're still going to have Derek White and Peyton Pritchard and all the kind of young wings, Gonzalez and Sharman and that crew. And then you're still going to have Kata up front, who came a long way this season. So you're still going to have all those guys there. And then maybe you still have like Sam Hauser that you could use in trade. And the Celtics would still have a massive, almost $28 million trade exception that they could use. Because remember, if it's Brown for Giannis, they're taking on like $1 million more. Like, it's not like they're taking on tons more money. Right. Yeah, they would hard cap themselves at the first apron, but they're not going over that very likely anyway. So you're in a spot where you still have plenty of room to kind of play and add a little bit more talent to the team.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really interesting. If you can add talent to that, suddenly you've got a team that's that really has a shot to go do something here and make a real run. I think they're going to have a shot next year regardless, but are you better with Giannis than with Jaylen Brown? Yeah, I'd have to say you're better with Giannis than with Jaylen. He's a better player. It's not to say Jaylen Brown's not a good player. He's a very good player, but could you get more for Jaylen Brown in a trade in terms of landing assets to Milwaukee than what the Heat are offering? Potentially, yeah, I think you potentially could. Now, the question is, does Boston want to go that far as to move on from Jaylen Brown? Like, there's as much as we can say, just comparing player, Giannis greater than signed Jaylen Brown, therefore do the trade, team chemistry, comfort on the roster. What does Giannis want to do? What does he envision for his future? How are you built? How do the pieces fit? All these sorts of things matter. So does this make sense from Boston's perspective, going beyond just Giannis is the better player?
Yeah, that is a great question. And here's my standard answer. And this is not that different when, remember all the shows we did, Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant, which was a big part of the Kevin Cannon days.
Yep.
If it's Jaylen Brown for Giannis, okay, I'm all right with that. Take the shot, see what it looks like. If it starts turning into Jaylen Brown plus this guy, plus this draft pick, plus this draft pick, I'm out. It's not enough of a sure thing upgrade over what they have in Jaylen Brown that I'm willing to do it. It's not like if you just flipped them, I would say Celtics are the champs. Like, it's done. Don't even play next season. Like, and I know that's being really over the top, but I don't even know that they'd be favorites over San Antonio, Oklahoma City, maybe not even the Knicks. Like, they'd be up there. They'd be in that mix for sure. But that's why it can't be Brown plus. If it's just Brown, and then Brown is the means to the end of whatever Milwaukee gets, all right, I'm okay with saying, okay, we've kind of done this thing for a decade plus now. They did win a title with Tatum and Brown, but they've got to change the way they play. Two other quick things I want to add on this that are just might be a little bit of connect the dot playing, but Giannis praised Joe Mazzulla out of nowhere late in the regular season, was very like, I love him. I love the way he coaches, how he has his guys back, how prepared he has the team, all that stuff. And then Brad Stevens at the end of season press conference multiple times said some version of, we need more dunks and layups and pressure on the rim. Like, and that, like you said a minute or so ago, there's probably still nobody better in the league at that than Giannis.
He's might as well just hold up a sign saying we need Giannis, right?
Yeah,
like,
right?
You're in parentheses, Giannis, right? Is what he's talking about there. Now, the one thing that, and maybe this is me, but that I keep thinking of though, is Giannis has spent his entire career in Milwaukee. Yeah, Milwaukee during winter, you don't solve that problem by going to Boston. You solve that problem by going to Miami. Maybe Giannis does not care about that. That's me. That's my own self putting myself in there. Maybe Giannis doesn't care one bit about being on the beach or being freezing. But if I had to pick between the two, like that's gonna be strongly in favor of Miami as well. Though I do think I think pretty clearly the Celtics are more positioned to win if they're able to trade for Giannis. So it'll be interesting to see ultimately what it is that Giannis wants to do, what he prefers, where he wants to go. But I do think Boston makes sense. And Jaylen Brown, the next step of having to send him to another team and get assets, I don't think that's that big of a hurdle, because I think there'd be a number of teams that would raise their hands and say, yep, we'll do it, and we'll give you assets X, Y, and Z.
I agree with that. I think Jaylen Brown is the kind of guy another team can look at and say, look at what he just did, right? He was, 6th in MVP voting. He was, I think, the top vote getter for All-NBA second team. So knocking right on the door of a first-team All-NBA season. And without Jason Tatum and without Porzingis and Holiday and all these other guys, he led this team to the 2 seed and had, arguably, I mean, it's weird when you get into best versus favorite because he did all that. This was my favorite season. And they had lost in the first round after won a title where he was finals MVP. But if you're just regular season, this was probably his best regular season. I know there's some statistical noise in there of like, were they actually better with him off the court and all that stuff? I think there's a lot of noise in that. But he was awesome last year, and I think other teams would look at it and say, hey, we get Jaylen Brown. Like, now we have our guy, right? Like, this is our guy we're building around moving forward.
All right, let's get to finals game 1, which is coming up tonight. We'll talk a little bit about Darius Garland as well. But first, a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. You guys can check them out. Use the code HMA, play $5, get $50 instantly. And they've got an awesome promo for tonight's game 1 of the NBA Finals. Jalen Brunson, 0.5. Wonder which way I'm going to pick on that one. Yeah, I think more than 0.5 points. Jalen Brunson will score a point in game 1. Watch out for the hot take there, but that is a great promo right now. Can combo that with any number of other plays. Prize Picks, that code is HMA. Play $5, get $50 instantly. The link is in the description down below. Go check them out. Big shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring the show. All right, Keith, let's talk a little bit about Darius Garland, who says he has found joy again playing with the Clippers, and that brought back some unpleasant memories from the reaction I've seen around social media from basketball fans.
Yeah, there were a lot of weird things. Like, what does that mean? Are you taking shots at the Cavs? There were some references to Russell Westbrook within those answers, because he said very similar type things in the past. Yeah, right. So I think I just think this is it's probably a moment of like him being really truthful. It did not go well with him and Mitchell in the backcourt together. And I'm not saying he was like, forget the Cavs and I hate all those guys and I hate Cleveland. I think it was more of just, hey, by the end, things weren't going great. And like, was hurt a lot and all that. And with the Clippers, talked about he got to have the ball in his hand. So that is kind of a, shot at the Cavs a little bit. Like, I got shuttled off to the corner some. So, yeah, I mean, if Darius Garland's more happy with the Clippers, more power to him. But I don't know, just a little weird to phrase it that way.
Yeah, it was. But I think he'll be a good fit for them moving forward. We'll see what they can do with the 5th pick of the draft. We'll see what happens with Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, a lot for them to sort through here. But let's talk a little bit about
buzz around Kawhi in the last little bit, but nothing like concrete enough that is like, oh, we got to start a Kawhi watch or anything like that. There's just a lot of like, where's it going?
What's a Kawhi tree pun?
I don't know.
We have to come up with something.
For him, we'll build Kawhi tree.
Kawhi tree? The Kawhi. Is there something called a coniferous tree?
Yeah.
Conifer?
Pine trees or coniferous.
Oh yeah, trees. Okay. So the Kawhi conifer, it can be a tree that gradually grows into a trade from the Clippers.
We're gonna get an arborist in the comments now. That's like, that's not actually it.
Actually, it's the blah blah blah. Well, look, I don't know that much about trees. All I know is Kawhi didn't plant the damn thing. That's all I know.
No. All right. Well, I didn't even do a tweet. So never mind a tree. It wasn't even a tweet done about like this, like, so yeah, it's, hey, let me do a quick disclaimer here right now, because I'm probably going to repeat this again. Be very, very careful of the accounts you guys are putting a lot of stock in right now.
Yeah. I saw your
at
tweet.
this time of year. I tweeted earlier, it's more precise than the summer solstice is every beginning of June. These random accounts come up, and these accounts are tweeting stuff like every hour of like a new rumor and a new report and all this stuff.
You're not talking about the aggregation accounts, are you?
Not even the aggregation accounts. No, these are like rarely do they have a name or a face attached to them. They're just tweeting random stuff. Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
Just like no one is that tapped into the entire league to run a new report that often. Like not even Shams is that tapped in. Now, Shams, if Shams wanted to tweet every random stupid little nugget he heard, yes, he could do that all day long. But these are like blockbuster Giannis, Kawhi. I saw LeBron stuff. Like just guys, like it gets, what happens is it makes like, right, you're going to do, it's the off season. So you're going to do 1 million Lakers off season shows between now and the middle of July. All it does when you put stock in one of those is makes like Trevor's life harder, my life harder when it is, hey, I saw this report about the Lakers are trying to get Kawhi Leonard. You know, how are they going to pull that off? And then it's like, I didn't see that because none of the reliable reporters I follow saw it. And then you trace it back and it's some dude who somehow has 10,000 plus followers, but no name or face attached to it. And yeah, maybe he's gotten something right because he's tweeted 500 things every day. Yeah. Like, so eventually one of them sticks. Like, just be very, very careful.
There's a high demand for that kind of information right now, which means the supply will follow and people will create stuff. I find the trickier one to be Instagram because it's super easy now to create a graphic, right? To create something visual and put it out there, and they'll put on there via Mark Stein, right? Or whatever.
I've had it done to me.
I never said anything remotely like that, and not linking to anybody. And so people think, oh, it was from this person. That means it must be true. And they'll have this whole trade out there or whatever. And it's just completely fabricated and made up. So always just trace it back to the source. If it says it's via Mark Stein or via whoever, go check that person's actual work and see if they did. It's certainly what we do, because there are a lot of false rumors out there, a lot of stuff that has no actual basis that people are just making up in order to get attention. Even the aggregation accounts, who sometimes, like, I even thought what they aggregated from Eric Pincus today on LeBron was misaggregated when I saw it going around. That kind of stuff can happen, but at least they tend to focus on the main folks, like the main information sources. People are actually plugged in. There's just too much of a lure for people just to make stuff up and put it out there. So just be careful this time of year. And I do get, because I see it all the time, like with MLB, with NFL, stuff like that, where
everywhere.
I'm not as plugged in with those types of things. I'll see an account and I'm like, is this real? Is this a real thing? And even that, and it could be confusing. Right now for NBA, I could tell you right away if it's real or not, but I can totally understand fans who are maybe more, I don't want to use the word casual because it's so derogatory now, which is stupid, but are not following this stuff every single day.
You're not locked in
to see something and get taken by it and not know what's real and what's not.
I'll also say too, guys, this is not the scams, Sharania. That's like
that are doing it as a
Giannis is being traded to the Chinese third division stuff. Like that's so over the top and silly that you just are like, oh, okay.
It's parody.
Like, NBA decides Wemby's too young to play in finals, Thunder to the finals, like stupid stuff like that. Those are like, just use your notifications. Those are the like truly like fake accounts that get out of it by saying parody. And I had somebody say to me, like, but what's the big deal? They're just having fun. Sure, I get to some extent, but they're not just doing it for fun, because the way Twitter works now is if you pay to be verified, which like I'm verified right now, but I'm letting my verification expire if they take it away from me, mostly because I don't want to pay $80+ for TweetDeck anymore. But anyway, what happens with those ones is you want to be like, what they're doing is, hey, I paid to be verified. Then I paid to get into the monetization. So I'm just going to tweet 1 million things a day. And every time somebody interacts with it, retweets it, replies and all that stuff, It all adds up, and now they're making actual money off it. And what you're doing is you're taking money away from potential people who should be making it when these guys are just running a fraud scheme.
Yeah, just this time of year, be careful with it. Try to trace things back to the real source, and if it's not from any of the main actual newsbreakers, just take it with a grain of salt, right? If it's a beat reporter who covers the team or something, that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
But if it's random account that you haven't really heard of, that's different.
Yeah, that all of a sudden is made the account 2 months ago and is linked to every single major person. And if you were that linked, you'd have your face and name on it because you'd be getting hired by ESPN or The Athletic or whoever, Amazon. They'd all be having a bidding war to bring you in to be their next big insider. Last thing I will say on this too is, one, I have a list. It is public on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, that's my NBA news list. That is like the most trustworthy news people I have. If people want that, you can use that. And it just has a lot of people who I tend to trust when they report and they're really wrong. Put your notifications on for Shams and Stein and the main reporters. That's how you'll get a lot of news. And then just double check it. And aggregation sites like Hoops Rumors and Hoops Hype generally are pretty good because they don't get caught up in a lot of the foolish stuff from other places. So if you're really like, man, I want one place to just go look. So that's why I look at, these aggregation accounts on Twitter. Because a lot of times they're doing it to whatever quote it's going to get the most traction on Twitter. They're pulling that out. And it might have been this big of a part of the report where Hoops Rumors and Hoops Hype have really good stuff. And it's, I pop in there probably, 10 times a day just to scroll through and just see if I miss something. Cause it's hard to miss things this time of year.
All right. Speaking of not missing things, Mitchell Robinson looks like he is not going to be missing game 1 of the NBA Finals. Keith, when that injury report came out and it was he broke his pinky, I was like, oh, that sucks. And then it came out, well, maybe it's his hand. And I went, oh, I know what that is. If it's not your pinky, if it's the 5th metacarpal, that is known as a boxer's fracture.
Yep.
Now, you could break that a lot of different ways, but typically the way you break that is by punching something or someone or whatever. So I'm wondering if there's another story that's going to come. Again, maybe he did it. Maybe a book fell on his hand. I don't know, right? Like there's other things you could do. Just saying that's typically how you do it. I know from experience. That said, I have broken that before. That said, he is likely to play in game 1. I can't imagine he's going to be at 100%, but I also think out of every player that's in this game, he may be the most capable of playing with a broken hand because he's not shooting outside of 2 feet anyway over the course of this game. My
worries for him with the broken hand are, can he catch the ball?
Yeah.
Right. Because so much of his value is in his rebounding. And the other end, can he catch lobs and finish? Because he's not, as much as we all love the one-handed lob, finish that are all, the highlights, most of them are two-handed catch and flush. So I just worry a little bit is that going to impact him? And here's the thing with the Spurs, primarily Wemby, but also Luke Cornett's a pretty good shot blocker too. If you fumble a pass, you still catch it, but you fumble it and go up, your advantage is lost because they'll recover so quickly to get you at the rim. So those are things I'll be watching for. Can he be as aggressive and physical defensively as he's going to need to be? But, hey, it's the finals. You got to go, right? You have to give it a shot and try if that's, what it is. But, it was interesting when they said, this is what was done. And there was instantly a bunch of the I call them the Twitter doctors, but they're the real medical professionals were like, broken pinky, you would just tape to your ring finger and just go. You're not with that. And they're like, I want to see if this is more. And then when it came out, oh, this is actually more like a broken hand, that makes it a whole different thing. And now there's all this other stuff, how did he actually break it? Because I guess it has been reported, wasn't in a game and wasn't in practice. So what happened with that? I'm not going to get into anything, because it'd just be pure
we don't know.
Speculation. Yeah, it could have been anything. I don't know. It used to be an injury baseball players picked up all the time. Maybe he was playing some pickup softball and he got hit by a pitch, and that's what it was. I doubt that's what it was, but I mean, who knows? So let's just be happy that it sounds like he's going to be able to go, and we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, we'll see how we'll see what kind of efficiency he has dealing with that injury, but hopefully he can play through it and he'll be okay. Yep. All right. Well, game 1 of the finals starts up tonight. Excited for that. Obviously, we've got a ton going on in the NBA offseason. You can kind of feel it right now. It's in the air. Everything.
It's all news bits. Yeah, it's all coming.
Yep, it's coming. It's before we know it. It's going to be. We're already there. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but we're getting to that point where I'm worried about sleeping in too late. Like that kind of stuff.
Going to sleep with the phone not on silent, notifications so you can hear them. Yeah, we're getting there for all that. And guys, if again, I said it last time, but now's the time. Subscribe to the show. If a big enough transaction goes down, generally a trade, we'll, as quick as we can get to the mics and sit down in front of them, we'll do that. We will have our Friday live shows, and then we'll do our live content around start of free agency like we do every year. We have a lot of fun with those, and it'll be a blast. And then I was mapping some stuff out and really looking into the beginning part of July, and I was like, man, summer league's only like a little over a month away. Like it comes so fast at this time of year, and then it's like mid-July, poof, it's all
we
gone.
Need to make a point to do something at summer league, like in
100%.
Like last year we were both in Las Vegas for a total, we overlapped for I think 5 hours or something, and we saw each other while but we didn't get to actually do a show or anything. We'll have to fix that this year.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a show, and obviously, maybe we'll let people know, hey, we're both in the gym right now. If you want to come find us, we'll be hanging out over here. Come say hi. Yeah, come collect your hug. If you want one, we're happy to, or at least I'm happy to give them out. I won't promise Trevor's gonna hug you.
We'll see. I'll give out at the very least. I'll give out a fist bump.
Yeah, there you go.
Easy, no problem. All right,
I'm just a huggable guy. That's all.
So it's a curse. The way it goes. All right, everybody. Speaking of the curse, by the way, we got to finish with this. Does Danhausen's curse extend to San Antonio? Are the Knicks going to go through? Because
that's the wrestling guy.
Yeah,
he cursed everybody
and they got swept.
I don't know. I want to see how many of the Knicks celebrity fans are there tonight.
I bet it's a lot. I think the Knicks do travel well. It's a lot. It's different than just going to Cleveland or something, but I think there's a pretty good contingent of Knicks fans in the building.
The get-in price for the games at Madison Square Garden are like, do you want to live in a house for the next, or do you want to, not even a house, indoors somewhere for the next year? Or would you like to go to game 1 of the NBA?
Would you like shelter?
Or game 3, I guess. Game 1 in New York. Yeah, exactly. And eat and do other things. These are the things you're choosing between.
Well, yeah, that's the price of fandom in this day. All right, everybody. We appreciate all of you. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications as well. Till next time. See ya and stay safe.